Hi everyone, Monique here. It is Friday, May 23rd, and I wanted to share some major astrological events that are happening this weekend. The first major event is tomorrow, Saturday, May 24th, and we have a major planetary shift. We have Saturn moving into the sign of Aries. Saturn is the planet of wisdom. It's the planet of discipline, structure, foundation. And Aries is the sign of, first of all, it's a fire sign. So there's this kind of spark, this kind of brilliance that you get with Aries. It is a sign that we can describe as bold, courageous. It is a warrior sign, a leader. Aries is really about trailblazing, bringing something new to this consciousness. It is about the self. And with Saturn in Aries, we have this opportunity to really build this new foundation and this new structure around who we are and how we want to show up in the world. You know, the other thing that we can say about Aries is that there tends to be a little bit of impatience and sometimes aggression. But I think, you know, when we look at Saturn, which is a little slower and more grounding, that balance will kind of balance out that energy in Aries and have us really focus on the potential that we want to bring into being. So let me give you some dates. Saturn moves into Aries tomorrow on the 24th. Then it will be retrograde July 13th. It will be retrograding or moving, appearing to move backwards. It will go back all the way into Pisces. So September 1st, it will retrograde into Pisces. And then it will end its retrograde period November 27th. And it will be back in Aries from February 13th, 2026 until April 28th, 2028. I want to give you those dates because I want you to see that this is a process. These next couple of years, it's a process of really grounding this new concept of self. And it is a time for steadiness, which is Saturn, very steady, as well as a time for courageousness, which is definitely a trait of Aries. Now, Aries as a sign is also a cardinal sign. So it's about initiating and getting started with something new. And that something new is you. When I first thought about the Saturn Aries combination, the first word that came to me was adulting. And we are now in a society where we talk a lot about I'm not adulting today, or this is not the time for me to be adulting, or I'm not up to it. I believe that Saturn in Aries will bring this kind of realization that there are places where we do need to, for lack of better terms, grow up. And this will be our time to do it. The other word that came to me when I thought about a Saturn in Aries combination is rebranding. Aries is the sign of the entrepreneur, but you don't have to be an entrepreneur. No matter your industry, there is an opportunity for you to rebrand yourself in that space. So think about how you can show up differently. Now remember that Saturn is long term. So and that's why I gave you the dates. This is something that starts tomorrow, but of course you don't necessarily have to accomplish it tomorrow. The reason I told you about the retrogrades, because a retrograde in Aries, whatever you're thinking now, when the retrograde in Aries, Saturn in Aries begins July 13th, maybe you need to rethink it, um, to re to reconsider what you have been planning. When it rolls back in to retrograde Saturn in Pisces, maybe it's time to reimagine some of the plans that you have. So you'll get time to think about what you'd like to do, to rethink about it and reimagine it before you move forward. I also want to talk a little bit very briefly about another major event. There's a lot of energy around Aries. So back in March, I believe it was the 30th of March, Neptune also changed signs. And this is something that happens every 14 years or so. And Neptune also stepped into Aries. And so Neptune is the planet of dissolving. So there's this kind of dissolving the old self. Neptune is the planet of dreaming. So it's an opportunity to dream a new dream about how you want to show up in the world, who you want to be in the world, and what's that going to look like. So we have these two planets, major planets this year, that have shifted into Aries and giving us an opportunity to really to rethink, redream, reimagine how we show up. And there's a lot of intuition, following our intuition when it comes to Neptune, following our imagination, following our creativity. And so you have this opportunity to really dream bigger than you usually do about who you are and what your gifts are and how you want to share that with the world. So that's the Saturn in Neptune, Neptune in Aries, which started in March. And that was a lot of feeling, the need for a new cycle around how you show up. Neptune in Aries is a 20-year cycle that you're beginning. Saturn in Aries is a 2-year cycle. So within that 20-year cycle, we have 2 years of really building this new foundation where we can stand on. It is a time for really getting beyond. I've heard from several people recently, and one of the things that I've heard several times is, I have this kind of imposter syndrome. This is what someone said to me recently. This is a great transit right now to get beyond that imposter syndrome and really boldly and with courage step into this kind of wisdom, soul wisdom of who you are and how you're going to be in this new world. So that is the Saturn in Aries. It's time to rebrand. It is time to adult. And it's time to get beyond that imposter syndrome. So the other major event that is happening this weekend happens on the 26th. It is the new moon in Gemini. It arrives at 11:02 p.m. and it will be 6 degrees Gemini. This is a really wonderful new moon for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is that the ruler of this new moon in Gemini is Mercury. And Mercury at the time of the new moon will be in Gemini, which is its home sign. It's the place where it is most comfortable. So whatever you're doing this weekend should come with a level of comfort and joy, because the other part of this new moon is that Jupiter will also be in Gemini. And Jupiter brings this kind of joyful, expansive, jolly energy. So let's talk a little bit about Gemini. Gemini is an air sign, and air signs are about communication. It's really about this ability to share, communicate ideas. It is a time. One of the words I love using with Gemini. It is a time to be curious and to play. So this weekend would be a great time with all of this mercurial energy and this beam of Jupiter energy to have some fun. If you are able to, since this is a long weekend, make sure to take time to spend with friends. If you want to go out and talk and share and collaborate, share ideas on the Saturn in Aries theme, this would be a great time to strategize and just share ideas on this Saturn in Aries energy that's coming in. So, how do we use this? So, we want to look at whatever house we have Gemini in. So, this is the house that's going to be alive during this new moon. So, that's where you're going to have a space for all of these new ideas, for this communication. So if you have Gemini in your 11th house, it's your new ideas for fun and play with friends. If you have Gemini in the 5th house, maybe it's for your children, your lovers, your entrepreneurial ideas. So whatever house Gemini rules will be impacted or will be alive in this new moon. The other houses that will be alive will be the other mutable signs. So that means the houses that relate to your Gemini house would be Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. So you can look to what houses are ruled because they are related to this Gemini moon. There's this opportunity for shifting, for reimagining, for letting go, and allowing newness to show up. And I just want to backtrack a little. I'm jumping back and forth, but I also want you to do that for your Aries house as well. Look at what house Aries rules, because that's going to tell you where you have an opportunity to show up differently for these next 2 years. So if Saturn in Aries is showing up in your 10th house, your 10th house is ruled by Aries, then you get an opportunity to show up and be different in your career. You may want to rebrand yourself. This is the opportunity. If it's in your 4th house, it might be how you want to restructure how you show up personally with your family. So you have an opportunity to do the same thing with Saturn in Aries. Jumping back to the new moon, I wanted to talk a little bit about the degree. It is 6 degrees. So remember, in astrology, we use a range to see how this is going to personally impact you. And the closer that range is to the 6 degrees, the more it will impact you. So for an example, we can say if you have your Gemini house that is 6 degrees, or maybe 9, anywhere from 6 to 9, or anywhere from 6 to 3, then this new moon will impact you more. So let's do a range. So for example, we have anywhere from 3 degrees Gemini to 9 degrees Gemini. It will have a more personal impact for you. So some of the things that you can do for this new moon as far as ritual, this is a great new moon as I mentioned before, to get together with friends and have some fun. If you are not going to, if you don't have an opportunity to spend with other people, then I would say this would be a great time to at least etch out time for yourself to play. Have fun and have some time on your calendar for play. It's a great time to journal. It's a great time to read, to write. If there's a class that you wanted to take, whether it's with people or online, that's perfect for Gemini energy. But make sure that this weekend you have some fun. Get together with at least your other twin soul, or with a group of people, and play and have fun. You can talk about the Saturn and Aries energy and how you're going to strategize and support each other. It is a great opportunity for that. That is the new moon in Gemini, and also Saturn in Aries. There is one more event that's happening right around the new moon that will also be helpful, and then I will wrap it up. So the other event is Mercury will also be trining Pluto. So this weekend you have Pluto is power and Mercury is the mind. So it is a really, really, really powerful time for research, for digging deep and coming up with profound and deep ideas. Pluto is very much the investigator, the detective. Pluto is the psychologist, the researcher. So you'll get a chance to go deep within the mind and really think about how you want to show up with the new cycles that we have around the Saturn in Aries and the Neptune in Aries, and really trust the thoughts and ideas that come from this deep well of wisdom and power, and put them into action. So you have a big weekend coming up. Enjoy it. Enjoy this new Saturn in Aries. Enjoy the new moon. Enjoy the Mercury trine Pluto. Have a great weekend and reimagine with boldness and courage, and for the long term, how you want to rebrand who you are and how you show up in the world. Enjoy. Thank you.